On that early October morning, the air was clear and brisk.
Live from the New Media Studio here at Beautiful Valley High School, this is Falcon Flash. And good morning, students and staff. Today is Wednesday, April 10th. As you know, for being 94 years old, this little book is still rocking the literature world. F. Scott Fitzgerald published The Great Gatsby on this day in 1925. On the first publication in 1925, The Great Gatsby was largely dismissed as a light satire on jazz-age follies. Today, it is acknowledged as a masterpiece, a love story, an exploration of the American dream, and arguably the greatest American novel of the 20th century. Narrator Nick Carraway tells the story of his neighbor, Jay Gatsby, whose parties at Long Island Mansion are as lavish as his past is mysterious. Yet Gatsby cares only for one of his guests, his lost love, Daisy Buchanan, now married and living across the bay. In Fitzgerald's hands, this deceptively simple story becomes a near-perfect work of art, told in hauntingly beautiful prose. Michael Deirdre, a Pulitzer Prize-winning columnist for the Washington Post, writes, "While a great novel should possess many qualities, the most essential is certainly the ability to enchant, to cast a spell over the reader, an ability possessed in full by this ever-fresh, ceaselessly magical novel." Let's learn more about the author.
F. Scott Fitzgerald was one of the 20th century's greatest writers.
F. Scott Fitzgerald perfectly captured America in the 1920s.
He's also known as the author of one of the greatest novels of all time, The Great Gatsby.
Francis Scott Key Fitzgerald was born in St. Paul, Minnesota on September 24, 1896.
When he was 13, F. Scott Fitzgerald published his first story in the school newspaper of the St. Paul Academy. When F. Scott Fitzgerald attended Princeton, he wrote musicals and also published pieces in the Princeton Tiger humor magazine. Because of his devotion to his writing in college, his academics suffered and had to leave after 3 years, and he joined the Army.
He met his wife in 1917. He was in the Army. He never went overseas or saw a deployment, but he was stationed down for a while in Camp Sheridan, near where Zelda lived. She refused to commit herself until she was sure that he had enough money to support her.
Fitzgerald was discharged from the Army in 1919 and moved to New York City. He published his first novel a year later.
This Side of Paradise was an immediate bestseller and made him incredibly wealthy. A week after the novel was published, he felt comfortable asking Zelda to marry him, and they eventually had a daughter, Frances Scott Fitzgerald.
It was the novel of the period, 1920, the beginning of what we call, and he called, the Jazz Age. And it said that the initial printing in the first year or two sold over 50,000 copies, which was an enormous amount.
In 1924, Fitzgerald moved to France, hoping to spark his creativity. A year later, he published his greatest work, The Great Gatsby.
The word Gatsby has entered the American vocabulary. You will see people described as Gatsby-like. The event was like Gatsby party. The word Gatsby now means something. It is still probably the biggest selling great American classic.
Over the course of his career, Fitzgerald wrote 178 stories and published them in magazines such as the Saturday Evening Post and in Esquire, and this helped financially support him in order to write his novels.
Fitzgerald's subsequent novels, such as his 1934 Tender is the Night, never matched the success of The Great Gatsby.
By most accounts, F. Scott Fitzgerald was an alcoholic. He struggled with depression, and he watched as his friends, like Ernest Hemingway, got more and more successful while he kind of got less and less successful.
In 1937, F. Scott Fitzgerald came to Hollywood to write screenplays to make money as quickly as possible so he could then leave town again and work on what he really wanted to do, and that is write his novels.
Fitzgerald was halfway through his final novel, The Last Tycoon, subsequently known as The Love of the Last Tycoon, when he died of a heart attack on December 21st, 1940.
In my opinion, he is the greatest writer of the 20th century. You can take the Fitzgerald sentence and you want to reread it because it's so beautiful. If you take the last lines of Gatsby, so we beat on, boats against the current, borne back ceaselessly into the past. Who ever wrote a sentence like that?
F. Scott Fitzgerald captured something essential about America with a glint of wit as reflected in the champagne glass. He's our great American writer.
Today's Falcon Flash, and I'm going to go over here and read. Go for it.
Thank you, Mr. Uzma. Good morning, Falcons. Here's today's Falcon Flash. A big reminder to everyone that tomorrow's a block day that starts with periods 2. So just like today, you'll be in class with the same people, but we'll be coming to live Falcon Flash at 7:55. On Friday, we will do the flip side of the block schedule by attending periods 0, 1, 3, and 5. Don't forget that Friday is also the grading period that officially marks the end of this 6 weeks grading period. So everyone keep your grades up and keep focused on your education. A big congratulations to all the students who are receiving recognition from their teachers today in the form of a department award. You have shown strength, connectedness, and love of learning. Keep it up, Falcons. Hey, seniors, the yearbook staff would like to add a page for senior baby pictures in the yearbook. If you would like your picture included, please email Ms. Karina Morales at sausd.us. The email is karina.morales@sausd.us, or bring it to room 4-5 and she will scan it for you. The deadline for your baby picture to add to the yearbook is Friday, April 19th. Now here's Brian with more information.
Congrats to the boys tennis team for winning their match against Anaheim High School 15-3. Congrats to the boys JV volleyball team for an impressive win against Anaheim as well. The JV team was led offensively by great hitting from Jesus, Miguel Navarro, and Israel Jacobo. This was a great team performance by all the JV players. The JV team is now 3-2 in league and is sitting in second place. A huge congratulations to the boys varsity volleyball for an impressive win against Anaheim. The Falcons were led offensively by Brian Harris with 14 kills, Adan Aramblu with 12 kills, and Jason with 10 kills. Hector Molina provided the Falcons with great setting for a total of 39 assists. Defensively, the Falcons combined to have a total of 73 digs. The volleyball team would like to thank the crowd that supported them and cheer them on to this great victory. A special shout out to the guys that followed along with the chant. The crowd was loud and showed so much support to their loving Falcons. Thank you so much for this. Let's keep the momentum going against Savannah on Thursday. The JV team plays at 3:15, followed by the varsity team at 4:30. And here's Gabby for some announcements.
Hey Falcons, I want to give a huge thanks to everybody who came to the ASB meeting yesterday. We do want to keep you guys updated, so please make sure to check your emails for the campaigning because it will begin next week. So make sure you're checking your emails. Interviews will be happening sometime this week or next week.
Thank you, Gabby. And that's it for today's Falcon Flash. And remember, Falcon Fever, catch it!